So, introduce yourself, tell us about your project, okay, and after that we'll discuss some questions. And one more time, round of applause for this.
Thank you. My name is Daniel Ashkenazi, and I made the last two films you saw, the two Paul Musicals, Telltale Heart and Pip the Pendulum. The first one I had originally done on stage with just me and three cellos surrounding me and minimal staging as a one-man show. And I'd always imagined that I needed a second act, and I thought I would do the Pip the Pendulum, but that never happened. Instead, I made film called The Pip and the Telltale Heart, and during post-production, while we hit a snag with our computer and I had to wait 3 months extra to finish the film, I was kind of frustrated, and I reread Pip the Pendulum, and I finally figured out how I wanted to adapt it, and then I just went ahead and did that. So during the pandemic year, Telltale Heart's Film Festival life was basically mostly online. During that time, I was at home doing all the festivals via Zoom, basically. I wrote and did the pre-production for the Pip the Pendulum, including recording all the music ahead of time. And as soon as vaccinations allowed it here in New York, we had booked our theater to shoot it. And then in post-production quick after that. And then we had a second musical, and that's what you see.
Mike Bergstein. My name is Earl Shirley. I did the first short, The Inconvenience. I usually just write a bunch of like silly ideas like throughout the day and just think about it. I don't really write on the weekdays because I'm never in the mood to write. So like during the weekends, I usually write a lot. And this idea was, I always, every time I check my drawers, I usually I'm missing like a pair of socks. And so I'm always like, where the hell does sock go? Because I know I have a washing machine in my house, so it's like, I don't know where the clothes, that's where the idea came from. Then I was thinking about like, it's an annoyance, and then I thought about more annoyances, and then I just started to compile the annoyance ideas, and that's how it all came about, and I started to just write the actual structure of it later. But I don't usually, it didn't take that long to write. It just took a long time to think about what I thought was funny. That's basically it.
Joaquin.
My name is Joaquin Weibel, I'm from Sweden. And the animated film was my film. For you who wasn't here, Olof Palme was Prime Minister of Sweden, was shot dead in 1986 in the streets of Stockholm. And that murder has been an unsolved mystery since then. And I played with Sweden a lot. For over 20 years, they accused the man who had nothing to do with the murder. But in 2018, a man wrote a book when he said that Stig Engström had killed Olof Palme, but he didn't say how, and he hadn't any proof. He just said that he was the same clothes as the murder. And I read that in the newspaper, and I thought it was interesting, because during the years we read a lot of theories who killed him, and everything has been wrong. And then I thought it was strange that he went back to the reception after the murder. I couldn't understand that. I thought that means he has nothing to do with the murder or something happened that forced him to go back to the reception. So I read, I wanted to know why he went back. So I read the interrogation protocol from the police during 4 days. And when I read them, it was obvious what happened. I couldn't understand why no one has seen this before. So I wrote the report and I sent it to the police. And almost on the day 2 years later, they had a press conference and they said that Stig Engström killed Olof Palme and they closed the investigation. But I didn't say how they did it. I think the reason for that, I think that was a reward of $5 million. And I don't think they wanted to pay out that. So that I didn't say that opened up for me to do. I thought they would do a film like this to show what happened. I have all the information. I just read it and I thought a few laps more after that. So that opened up for me to make this film. So I had some luck here. I got an email from a company that's making films in Sweden. So I contacted them and I was lucky. Maybe that's Sweden's best cartoonist I had. So he loved the story that I wrote. So it wasn't supposed to be as good as it was. This film. It was supposed to be simpler. But he loved the story, so it put a lot. It should have taken 4 months to do the film. It took 1.5 years. It cost me a stroke during the way. So, but 1 year ago it was released, and now I'm writing. Now we're doing a comic book of it. It will be 100 pages, 75 pages. The story here that you saw, and then 25 pages with evidence of everything. It will be out in 2 months. But maybe you think that now I'm a hero in Sweden, but I'm not. It's been silenced down. It's too big, this story. So they've been silenced, because you can imagine how many experts have been in television, written in newspapers during the years. Everything has been wrong, and they don't want to show. Don't want to show failure. So that's why they're silent. But everyone understands that I can't be sure of 100%, but almost everything is what happened that day. Because the investigation was good. There was a lot of information there. They have interviewed with a lot of people working at Scandia, but they didn't realize, they never connect the information. So that's why I've been there.
You did, that's awesome. That's amazing.
That's the biggest thing I've done in my life.
I really have so many questions.
I just want to say one thing. I've seen Danny's Telltale Heart, and I've seen them apart, both of them, but it was such a treat to see them back to back.
Yes.
Need one more. I'm telling you, man, it filled my heart. It was beautiful watching the performance, the music, the set, everything done so well. Nice. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My first time watching them back to back too. I was like, is this going to be too much? I was like, thank God the second one is very different from the first, even though it's all me, but beardless.
So guys, questions. We have a couple of questions. Are you a musician too?
Yeah, I consider myself a composer. I can play the piano, though that wasn't me playing the piano in the second film. We got a professional to do that. I've worked as a music director. This is when I sing, so in those respects, I'm a musician.
I'm always so fascinated with music and films because it's such an expense a lot of times because you have to buy the rights. So I was curious, was that all original music, or was it stuff you were able to work with?
I composed the music as well. So I composed the music for both films, and worked with a sound engineer and conductor in Ohio who knows musicians, and he brought in the 3 cellists to play for both films. It's the same 3 cellists playing for both films. And then a piano player came in for the second film as well. And then I recorded all my vocals in Brooklyn, just down the street from where I live, in a studio. For both films, all the music was pre-recorded and pre-edited and pre-mixed, and then we filmed to the soundtrack that we had created and set it up so that we could edit, that we could shoot to. So I had to basically lip sync my whole performance. The only sound that was recorded on set is the stuff in the bathroom, but not my stuff. Ed's stuff. Ed, my husband, plays the rescuer at the end of the second film, and the sound door opening and all that in the water. That's the only time we actually had a sound guy recording on set. Everything else was pre-recorded and edited for both films.
It was pretty good, huh? I'd say that. It was really good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, you gotta get the Ricky jokes. I have to tease him. And the first film, I murder him. That's the back of his head, and his hands, you see. And in the second film, he gets to save me. So, but my plan is, hopefully I get to make more films. He's going to be in every single one of them. He's my personal Hitchcock cameo.
That's just for Earl. Earl, you had yours was the one with the sock, right? Okay, I just clarified because I loved your actress. Where did you find her?
Oh, she's right over there. The actress is right there.
She was hilarious, and you're totally that person, Oh, go to people's houses, it's like so funny. That's why if you notice, if you were here, I was laughing the most, and that was so funny. It's like those little demons that are going on in your life, what do they call them, minions or whatever. They're just messing up stuff for you, just to aggravate you. Well, I just love the story, the whole premise and everything was real fun.
Thank you, thank you. She decided on the accent. We were like going back and forth of having an accent or just speaking in a real voice. And when she did the accent and the real voice, we thought, I thought it was funnier with the accent.
Yes.
If you just looking at checking to see if she's, yeah. I like it. We worked on a previous project. It was a drama, and she wanted to do something funny. I read, so I was like, all right. I sent her like 4 different scripts to look at, and she picked that one.
Yeah, I have a question for Danny. Is it a recurring technique to show like the character, the walls closing in, like mechanic mode? Are you going to use that like in future projects too? Because that really is an attention getter when the walls are just closing in.
Yeah, that's a coincidence. I mean, the walls close in and pick the pendulum, so that's in the story. You have to do it. And the walls closing in visually in Telltale Heart was something we did for the film, but only now, actually, are you making it clear to me that that's not happening in both films. So, oops. I don't intend to make that a recurring thing. I mean, there's a lot of recurring stuff in both films. There's the 3 cellos. You see the use of the instruments, seeing them in both films, and so forth. And it's all Edgar Allan Poe. But
Any questions?
So you figured out who assassinated the Prime Minister of Sweden. Was your life ever under any threat?
What you say?
Was your life ever threatened for finding that
No.
information?
He's dead, no.
Even the police weren't mad at you because you looked at their
No,
stuff and
but
figured
I've
out?
silenced it down. It's just,
Did they suspect the guy in the blue duvet jacket? Is that who they went after?
no, yes, but it wasn't that man. It was a drug that they suspected for 25 years. There's nothing to. You can see how he was dressed. And the drug is not dressed like that, so that's very strange that they accused him to kill him.
Yeah.
But But that's 100% sure that it's in the deal. But it's strange that no one could see it before. Should have been solved after 1 week.
But just to give you because I'm a retired police officer, detective actually, and sometimes you need fresh eyes. So you were fresh eyes on their case. And that's why I say I will see why they would be mad at you, because you saw something they didn't see. And sometimes you need that third, fourth person to look at that case to see what you saw that they didn't see.
It was just too easy. The two first years, they accused the curse to have killed Palme. That took 2 years. And then South Africa, the police in Sweden before they did it, and there was a lot of theories. But they never went back to the murder place and saw what happened there. They started to think, who can I kill Olof Palme? And then they tried to connect him to Stockholm. They worked that way for 25 years, instead of looking what happened. He was there all the time. Because they didn't know what they were doing to do that night, Olof Palme and his wife. They just decided to go to the moon. And you saw they took the subway to the, it was like that in the 80s. So no one could have planned it, because no one knew what would happen that night.
Right.
And what was strange that there were two possible ways. Otherwise it was a single man, or it was organized. But it couldn't be organized because no one knew what happened. And then if a single person have done it, that means that he goes in street in Stockholm with a gun, loaded gun on it. And that didn't happen in the 80s.
Right.
But this was in between. He worked there when he did it, so he couldn't plan it for 2 hours. So
The
that's
same people who animated your film, are they also doing the comic book, or is it different?
yes, it's the same copy.
Yes.
We are using the pictures from the thing.
Well, keep us posted, because I definitely would love to grab the comic book and support your work. And I just want to thank you for your courage also, because like you said, it affected your health. And
Yes.
a lot of times people don't realize how much, when you're going after your passion, that you can neglect your health and that it can affect you. So thank you for staying strong.
I guess I financed myself, so I was afraid it will never be completed. That's what I'm afraid of. I will be sitting there. Because it was during the pandemic and
Right.
So one more question, Danny, tell me, I'm going to ask you a kind of tricky question. How much of the improvisation at the time of the editing of your films were put into it, or everything was really thought out?
For the most part, it was thought out and storyboarded ahead of time. Like I said, we had to pre-record mainly for practical and cost reasons. There was no way to sort of sing live on set. I mean, you can do that, but it's more costly and technically more difficult, and we did not have the budget for that. So when it became clear to me that for like Telltale Heart, I would have to pre-record the whole performance and then practice for 2 months, 2 days pre-recordings, so that I could on set do it well, in a few takes, and also could edit to it. The editing plan, however, for The Pendulum was even more strict than we had it for The Telltale Heart. And that was more like sort of the experience of editing with my editor at Telltale Heart. We kept having to redo things because it wasn't quite working. And I knew I had limited time for editing for The Pendulum, so I wrote out a very detailed plan for him. And he was happy to, for the most part, follow the plan. But every now and then we discover something in the edit and make some tweaks. But for this kind of a project, there's not a lot of room for improvisation, basically. You have to be just really well prepared and follow the plan. And then be prepared to maybe make tweaks when you see the need, but have something 100% ready that you know will work. Because, we just didn't have that kind of luxury to go on the fly for something like that.
Round of applause for them. And now we continue with the feature film group. So you guys stay tuned here. It's gonna be beautiful. We're gonna start in 5 minutes. So if anybody needs to go to the restroom, this is your opportunity.
Hello.